Peace be upon you, dear brothers and sisters. I hope you're well. Each day, as a Muslim, we hold on to the hope that the situation in Gaza will improve. Every day, we think that conditions cannot become worse than they already are, but to our dismay, the next day we see much more oppression being exercised upon innocent lives, much more sadness and helplessness, and much more rivers of blood. In these challenging times, our inability to provide physical assistance to our fellow brothers and sisters in Gaza leaves us feeling powerless. But we need to remember one thing. Throughout this unimaginable crisis, Allah Almighty has never left the side of His servant. Allah Almighty never abandons His servant in times of need. The Israeli government has started its ground offensive to take its aggression to the next level, and the IDF has thus entered the territory of Gaza, conducting their so-called operations to save the hostages. Surprisingly, several reports are coming from this operation that IDF soldiers are claiming they are unable to explain the situation on the ground, and it seems as if they are fighting ghosts. Many of us may ignore these claims as just rumors, but if these claims are being reported by major Israeli media outlets and when IDF soldiers themselves explain the situation after facing them, then such claims seem much more than just a rumor. In the Battle of Badr, the number of believers was only a handful while the number of enemies was much larger. In that battle, too, the enemy's army was making the same claims that they were fighting those whom they were unable to see with their own eyes. Allah Almighty sent His army of angels to protect and help His faithful servants, and this help from Allah made the believers victorious, even though they were much fewer in number than the enemy's army. Is it possible that this time Allah has sent His army of angels to help the believers against the oppressing regime? Or are the IDF soldiers hallucinating because of stress or other factors? Only Allah knows the truth. We must trust His decree, acknowledging that nothing occurs without His will. Our limited human perspective prevents us from understanding the intricate plan Allah has for His believing servants. Moreover, the Israeli government may have tried to cut off Gaza from the rest of the world by prohibiting fuel and electricity. Still, the people of Gaza are able to communicate with us, sometimes with little internet connection available, while charging their mobile phones with any means possible. That is the reason why the world is able to witness the horrors and suffering they're facing. The world is truly shaken by the heartbreaking pictures and videos in which little kids are pulled out of rubble in the darkness of the night. Imagine the state of a 4-year-old kid playing with toys when suddenly the whole building collapses over him. He's left alone in that darkness and trapped inside the rubble for more than 5 hours. How horrible is that situation to even imagine? Surprisingly, some kids who are being rescued from underneath the rubble are narrating a different story about how they never felt totally alone.
وأنا في الركام تحت الإنقاذ ضلتني 4 ساعات من أول ما وصلت الدار هذا في ملاك إجا ضوالي ضوي ضويلي مع ما سمعت صوت المنقذين إجا لفيت وجهي لأنا عشان أشوفهم لأنا من أول ما لفيت الجهة طلعت عليه ما لقيتوش اختفى اللي هم ضلهم 4 ساعات يطلعوني من تحت الإنقاذ بس سبحان الله الله بعث لي ملاك البحث ما شفتش أنا بس شفت أكنه ضوء وجهه حط ضوء.
This girl, who appears to be barely 6 or 5 years old, is stating that she felt the presence of angels around her while she was trapped underneath the rubble. Because of that, she was not scared at all. Similar claims were reported earlier this year when a huge earthquake hit Turkey, causing severe casualties. Children as small as 3 years old were pulled from underneath the rubble of buildings, sometimes almost after 48 hours. They were coming out smiling and laughing. When asked how they survived alone for long under the debris of buildings, they replied that they actually never felt alone. These claims are made by small children and not manipulative adults. Thus, it makes it much more believable, as small children do not have any hidden political agenda. Rather, they are free from all bias and only speak from their hearts. It is highly unlikely that these children are making things up just after being pulled from underneath the debris of buildings. When we hear such statements coming from small kids, we should think that there are some instances that happen in this life, but we are unable to comprehend them. As human beings, we only believe what we see with our very own eyes. Our eyes can see that these children are suffering tremendously. We can feel the pain that the child must be going through. We are unable to understand how kids were trapped under the huge rubbles of buildings alone, hungry and thirsty. But we do not know how Allah still is and always has been with His loyal servants. We do not know because it is beyond our understanding how Allah is helping and giving enough courage to the besieged people of Gaza even in these turbulent times. This is why we, as Muslims, should trust Allah and His plans even when we see everything going against us. Trust is part of a believer's faith, to believe in the miracles of Allah and have complete trust in the plans of Allah that He will never leave His servant in times of distress and will surely make a way out of every trouble. The world is with the oppressors and Allah is with the believers. So the oppressors will lose even after winning this battle, and the believers will win even after losing everything.
ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه إن الله بالغ أمره قد جعل الله لكل شيء قدرا.
In this small strip of Gaza, events unfold beyond our comprehension. Our focus should be on trusting Allah's wisdom. May Allah grant steadfastness to the Palestinian people in these challenging times. May Allah bless the people of Palestine. May Allah be always with them. Ameen.